I read 8 books in the month of January. Let's talk about it. I started the year off strong with The Long Game, which is the 6th book in the Game Changer series. It is a continuation of Shane Hollander and Ilya Rosenov's story. Shane and Ilya are rivals in the NHL. It's been adapted into a TV show. If you haven't watched it, this is your sign to go watch it. I love me some Shane and Ilya. If I could read their story on a restaurant napkin, I would. The only thing that really bothered me about this series is the writing style. It felt very juvenile. But again, if I could read their story on a restaurant napkin, I would. Next, I read Older by Jennifer Hartmann. This is a taboo age gap romance. It follows Haley, who comes from an abusive household, and Reid, who just so happens to be Haley's best friend's dad. I rated it 4 stars because I felt like at times Reid was acting more childish than Haley was. Their age gap was a little bit problematic to me at first, but it was a really good book and I do recommend it. Next, I read Chaotic by Shantel Tessier. Very disappointed. I love me a Spade brother, but I was just not impressed with Cashton's story. What I loved about this book was Eve. He was a badass. He told Ashton how it was, and she was not going to put up with her shit. If you know me, you know that I am an Ashton hater. Being able to see someone put Ashton in her place, yes ma'am. Thank you. When I heard that Cashton was going to be the MMC, I was so excited. But I just expected more from Cashton. Their relationship really just like made no sense. I know in the Lord's universe, sex and stuff like that is a given. But with Hayden and Charlotte, it just made so much sense. She was his therapist. He was going through it. With Cashton, it just didn't feel that way. So I'm very disappointed. I did rate this book 3 stars. I do still recommend it. I recommend the entire Lord series. The series is so good. I was just very disappointed with Cashton's story. Next, I read Heavy, which is a dark taboo romance by M.L. Burns. This story follows Callista and Ronan, who just so happen to be step-niece and step-uncle. Not only is Ronan her step-uncle, but he's also a convicted unaliver. I ate this book up. I love me a good taboo romance, especially one that's not written in like a predatory way. I love a slow burn, but this book didn't even do anything until over 50% of the way through the book. Regardless, I did really enjoy this book. If you're a lover of dark romance, forbidden romance, age gap romance, forced proximity, this book is for you. And I did rate it 4 stars. Next, I read Nocticadia by Keri, and oh my gosh, this book was so good. I rated it 5 stars, but honestly, it was a 6-star read. I love me a good dark academia, dark romance. The plot of this story drew me in immediately. However, I did get to chapter 4 or 5, and it started to slow down a little bit. As soon as I got to chapter 25, ate it up. 10 out of 10 recommend. If you haven't already, put it on your TBR immediately. Next, I started The Vow of Deception, which is the first book in the Decption trilogy by Rina. It had dark romance, murder mystery, it had all kinds of stuff going on in it. I did really dislike the miscommunication trope between these two. However, reading the other 2 books in the series gave me my answers as to why the miscommunication trope was occurring. I also feel like Adrian is kind of an asshole. Even with that said, I did rate this book 5 stars and I highly recommend it. I ended the month with Tempted by Deception by Rina, which is the 2nd book in the Decption trilogy. I did really like being able to see how their story began. However, this book was kind of hard to get into. I do feel like it's because book 1 ended on somewhat of a cliffhanger. I really just wanted to go into the next book, figuring out what was going to happen, but I'm really glad that I read it. I did end up rating this book 3 stars. If you're going to read the entire Decption trilogy, I do recommend reading all 3 of them and not skipping book 2. It's very good. Rina knows how to write a mafia man. That's my January reading wrap up. So I feel like I had a pretty good month. It could have been better for some books, but